In the silent corners of ancient history, where kings ruled and shadows whispered secrets no mortal dared to repeat, there exists a book. A book said to hold the power to command spirits good and evil. Tonight, you and I open the pages of that forbidden text, the Lesser Key of Solomon. But be warned, every story you hear from this book carries a price, and once you step inside this world, you may not leave as the same person. Take a deep breath, lock your doors, and listen closely, because what you're about to discover has been hidden for centuries. Scholars whispered about a mysterious grimoire said to be written under the name of King Solomon, the ruler known not only for wisdom but for the unfathomable control he supposedly had over supernatural beings. This grimoire, the Lesser Key of Solomon, wasn't found in a royal treasury or a sacred temple. It surfaced from dark collections of forgotten libraries stained with time, secrecy, and fear. Those who touched its pages claimed that it felt as though the book watched them back. The ink seemed alive, the diagrams oddly precise, as if meant to be used rather than studied. But this book wasn't just a historical treasure. Every diagram, every seal, and every indication inside it served a purpose: to summon demons. Not metaphorical ones, real entities believed to have walked the earth in ancient times. The deeper researchers ventured into the text, the stronger the sense of dread that followed them home. Some said they heard scratching on their windows. Others reported dreams where shadowy figures appeared beside their beds, whispering in languages no human tongue could imitate. Yet despite its terrifying reputation, the book remained irresistible. It promised knowledge, power, wealth, everything a human heart could crave. And that temptation was the exact trap that swallowed dozens of readers who thought they could handle what waited inside. But the book never warned them that every command comes with a consequence, and every demon summoned comes with a price no mortal man is prepared to pay. Before anyone could summon a spirit, the book demanded something crucial: mastery of the Seal of Solomon. This seal, a star-shaped emblem crafted from intersecting triangles, wasn't just a symbol, it was a cage. It represented the boundary between human intention and supernatural obedience. For centuries, occultists believed Solomon used it to bind 70 demons, forcing them into service like slaves. But if even a single line of the seal was drawn incorrectly, the demon wouldn't be trapped. You would. The text described how ancient magicians spent months preparing the ritual. They purified their homes, fasted, and slept on floors to prove discipline. But the true fear came when they began carving the seal on the ground. The moment the final line touched the circle, the air around them grew heavy. Animals avoided the room. Flames flickered without wind. Even the silence had weight. It was as if the world itself paused to witness what came next. The book insisted that the seal wasn't just a tool, it was the only thing preventing the summoner from becoming prey. Demons, according to the grimoire, hated being controlled. They waited for the slightest mistake, the tiniest crack in the protective circle. And once they found it, they attacked with a fury older than mankind itself. The seal was your shield, but only if you drew it perfectly. One single error, and the book became the doorway to your own destruction. The first demon listed in the grimoire is Baal, the king of invisibility. The Lesser Key describes him with chilling detail: a creature made of a man's body, a cat's head, and a toad's torso. His voice echoes like water dripping in an empty stone chamber, slow, cold, and merciless. Some magicians summon him for the power to vanish from sight, believing invisibility was the ultimate advantage in life. But every gift Baal granted came with a haunting side effect. Those who practiced invisibility found themselves slowly fading even when they didn't want to. Their reflections blurred in mirrors. Their shadows vanished at random. People around them felt chilled when they entered a room, as if something unseen brushed past them. One summoner wrote that he felt half here, half somewhere else, like he was being pulled into Bel's realm piece by piece. Eventually, his diary ended mid-sentence, with no explanation of where he went. Historians call it superstition. Psychologists call it hallucination. But the strange part, every page of that diary carried fingerprints, not human ones, but clawed, three-pointed imprints scorched into the paper itself. And these marks match the descriptions found in the grimoire almost perfectly. Coincidence? Or proof that Baal answered the call? Beyond the demons of power and destruction, the book also mentions subtle spirits called whisperers. These entities didn't attack physically. They quietly entered the mind. People who encountered whisperers said the voices spoke softly at first, gentle suggestions. Tiny doubts. Don't trust them. You don't belong here. You know what you must do. But over time, the whispers grew louder, darker, and more demanding. One 18th century monk who attempted to translate the grimoire wrote that he heard a voice telling him to stay awake at night. Another voice insisted he stop eating. The final voice told him to burn the book. When he refused, the whispers drove him into a state of hysteria. In his final journal entry, he wrote, "I am not alone in this room. Something is watching me from the corner, and it is smiling." What terrified him most was that nothing was visible, not even a shadow. Doctors later diagnosed him with religious mania, but no one could explain why his candle always went out at exactly midnight, or why the temperature in his room dropped to freezing even in summer. The manuscript he was translating. It turned black at the edges as if burned from the inside out, and somewhere in its center, written in ink that wasn't his, was a message: do not listen to the whispers to perform a summoning. The magician needed a ritual room sealed, silent, untouched by sunlight. The lesser key describes the preparation with frightening specificity. The walls had to be cleansed with salt water, the windows locked, the candles placed at exact angles. Every detail mattered because demons looked for weakness. They fed on fear, exhaustion, and broken concentration. One misplaced candle could be the difference between control and catastrophe. Witnesses from the 1600s reported strange phenomena during rituals. Candles melting faster than normal, metallic sounds echoing from corners where nothing existed, and cold winds swirling despite closed doors. Some described feeling as if dozens of unseen eyes were watching from the darkness. Others collapsed mid-ritual, claiming they felt hands on their shoulders icy, weightless, and impossible to shake off. Most chilling was what happened after the ritual. Rooms remained unnaturally cold for days. Pets refused to enter, and some magicians swore they heard footsteps at night, slow, purposeful steps moving toward them. Many stopped practicing entirely. Others continued, but none of them escaped unchanged. The lesser key catalogs precisely 70 demons, each with a name, power, rank, and sigil. Some, like Asmodeus, ruled over desire and destruction. Others, like Payment, offered knowledge, secrets, and influence. But the disturbing part was how the book described them as soldiers in a kingdom invisible to human eyes. Each demon had a personality, a history, and a hunger. Occultists believed that Solomon did not create these spirits. He merely captured them, which implies the horrifying truth: these beings existed long before humanity. Their origins remain unknown. Some theories claim they were fallen angels. Others say they're older than creation itself. But what every story agrees on is that none of them serve humans willingly. They obey only because the seals force them to. And here lies the nightmare: if a summoner ever forgets the dismissal ritual, fails to close the circle, or shows fear, the demon is released, not as a servant but as a predator. Those who made this mistake never lived long enough to warn the next generation. Many people approached the grimoire out of curiosity, thinking they could learn without summoning. But the book had a strange effect even on readers. Pages seemed to move on their own. Sigils appeared darker after prolonged staring. Some readers developed insomnia or heard faint tapping sounds from inside the wall behind them. It was as if the knowledge itself demanded attention and punished disobedience. A Victorian scholar once copied a sigil from the book for research. Within a week, he reported seeing a shadow follow him everywhere. Not a human shadow, one with horns. People around him said he looked pale, unfocused, almost hollow. He abruptly abandoned his work, burned all his notes, and left a final message carved into his desk: some knowledge is not meant to be known. And maybe that is the real curse of the book. Not the demons, not the rituals, but the obsession of plants. Those who study it never feel satisfied. They always want to go deeper, read more, test more. And that hunger slowly becomes the demon itself. In 1893, a secret London occult group attempted a full-scale summoning using the lesser key. They were experienced, disciplined, and fully prepared, or so they believed. Neighbors heard chanting late into the night, followed by a loud crash and a piercing scream. When police entered the house the next morning, they found something disturbing. The chairs overturned, candles melted, and the walls covered in dark soot. But no bodies. Not a single person from the group was ever seen again. Their clothes remained in the house. Their journals ended mid-sentence. But the worst detail came from the investigator who first
entered the ritual room. He claimed the air felt thick, like stepping into a nightmare. He said he heard faint breathing in the corner, though the room was empty. When he stepped forward, he felt something brush past his leg, cold, fast, and invisible. Authorities sealed the house. It still stands today, untouched. Locals claim they hear voices from inside on cold nights, whispers, footsteps, and sometimes laughter. The seals drawn on the floor remain clear, as if carved yesterday. Even modern occultists agree on one thing: the Lesser Key of Solomon is not a book. It is a doorway. Every symbol, ritual, and invocation is designed to open something humans cannot comprehend. Whether demons exist literally or psychologically, the effects remain terrifyingly real. People who engage with the text report personality changes, paranoia, and unexplained physical phenomena. And while skeptics call it superstition, even they cannot explain why animals panic around certain sigils, or why electronic devices malfunction near specific illustrations. Some researchers went further and attempt to live experiments only to abandon their studies after encountering strange hallucinations and overwhelming dread. The book doesn't need your belief to be dangerous. It needs only your curiosity, because once you open its pages mentally or spiritually, you invite everything that comes with it. Tonight you've walked through a world where power comes at a cost no soul can afford. You've seen how the search for control can turn into a fight for survival, and how one ancient book shaped centuries of fear. Whether these demons are real or symbolic, One truth remains: some doors should never be opened. And once you knock, something always knocks back. If you're still watching, it means you're braver than most. But bravery doesn't protect you from the unknown. Only wisdom does. And the greatest wisdom is knowing when to stop. Remember, curiosity can be the first step toward knowledge, or the first step toward danger. Before you leave this video, take a moment, look around your room, listen to the silence. And if you felt even a single shiver, a single breath of cold air, or a single whisper that wasn't yours, then maybe, just maybe, the book has left its mark on you too. Subscribe now, not just to support the channel but to stay connected, because in the world of mysteries, it's safer to walk together than to walk alone. Stay safe, and never open doors you don't understand.